Hey guys, it is the end of the year. We're almost into January. And as you can see, because of global warming, it's absolutely freezing out here in California, raining. Doesn't make sense. I thought it was supposed to get hotter. That's why I don't buy into global warming. Well, we are doing a radio show. Yes, a live radio show. I'm going to have some special guests on, and we're going to be pointing out the errors of evolution, of which are many and numerous. It's going to be a long show. And picture a slice of Swiss cheese. Now picture our radio show, and now picture us on the radio show going through each and every error of evolution on that radio show. So there are so many errors of evolution, I can't even compare it to Swiss cheese. It's just that errored. So when is this show? What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the date and time of the show, and I'm also going to tell you some highlights from our previous shows because it's actually very funny and humorous. Down below here you're going to see shotgunowl.net. You go to that web page. You could use Internet Explorer. I use Firefox. It seems like it's faster. But you go there to www.shotgunowl.net. Here's how you spell it. SHOCKAWENOW.net. When you go there, you go up and down the page and you'll see a link there that says the radio show. Click it and you're at the radio show. Now, what happens is this show is on Sunday, January the 10th. That'll be 2010. We're almost there. January the 10th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Now, if you're on the East Coast, let's see, 11, 12, 12, that's probably like 2 o'clock your time. So you need to adjust it for your time depending on where you're at. See, I'm on the West Coast. And by the way, you guys see that elephant up there on the hill? That must be the Republican headquarters here in California. As we get closer, I'll show you the elephant. So we're going to be doing this radio show. It's going to be awesome. Let me give you some highlights. By the way, here's the elephant. See it about right here. Let me give you some highlights from our previous show. We did a show where we did talk about evolution and creationism, and anyone that listens to that show, out of respect to the callers that called in, would realize that the creationists, they totally took the show. It was obvious that the creationists knew what they were talking about, and they had proof and evidence to back it up. Which is why in America, do you know the majority of people reject evolution? Only 4 in 10 people believe in evolution in America. God bless America. And these are people that looked at both sides. They looked at evolution and creationism, and they came up with the intelligent choice that God created man. So let's go through some funny shows. I did a show, I'm going to talk about a show that I did, and then I'm going to talk about a show that I called Into. And it was absolutely hilarious. On the radio show that I did, I invited atheists from all around the world to call in and provide proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. I predicted, ladies and gentlemen, not by any intelligence of my own, but by me being I used to be in the humanist religion of atheism. I knew they were going to bring up Santa Claus and unicorns and things like that as proof and evidence. Sure enough, when the show started, this is what a lot of them brought up. Santa Claus and unicorns, and do you know, at the end of the show we actually had an atheist, a very honest atheist. I give him kudos, I give him credit. He admitted he could not provide proof and evidence that atheism was accurate and correct. It's actually based on faith. However, what we did on the radio show was we proved that Jesus Christ, you don't have to base your belief in Jesus Christ on faith. There's all kinds of proof and evidence, truckloads and truckloads of proof and evidence, prophecies that came true, everything. Go to shotgunowl.net. You'll see all the proof and evidence, prophecies that came true, etc. Now, After that show, everyone agreed that it was absolutely hilarious. If you'd like to hear that show, go to shotgunnow.net and you'll see it there. It's our top show called, quote, The Madness of Atheism, unquote. You can click it, you can hear me conversing with live callers, and it went really good. Now, after that show, a lot of atheists, my atheist buddies, sweet, cuddly, lovable atheists, said, hey, Shock, why don't you call into an atheist radio show, similar to like the Atheist Experience shows, you know, where they have an atheist there and you call in and you talk to them. So, lo and behold, there was a show. Hold on, I gotta turn the heat on. It's getting cold over here in California with all this global warming. Lo and behold, there was a show, and I'm gonna put an annotation here. You can go to my buddy Multi Archangel on YouTube, and you can hear he's got all 3 parts to the 16-minute call I did to the Atheist Radio Show. And get this, I predicted that the atheists were going to bring up unicorns, Santa Claus, and, you know, things like that. There's another friend of mine named Lindy. She's a dear Christian sister, and she said something to me the other day in the chat room. She goes, you know, Shock, it's always the same thing, unicorns and Santa Claus. It's always, it's like, where did they go to hear all this information? Like, is there a atheism university they go to? And I go, you know, it is right. That is right. It's always the same thing, because there really is no proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. If you guys have proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct, by all means, I'm all ears. Type it below. But get this, back to this. If you want to hear my call to the Atheist Radio Show, we got all 16 minutes of it. All 16 unicorn-loving, Santa Claus-hugging, leprechaun kissing minutes of it. And you're going to see an annotation here any moment. And when you click it, I'll put the annotation at the end of this video because I got a few more minutes. When you click that annotation, you're going to hear my call to the Atheist Radio Show, where I asked, there was at least 4 atheists I can hear, because I heard them all panicking on the air, on live radio. I asked them, now, by the way, the reason I called their show is because they were just talking about how if you're going to believe something is correct, you need to have proof and evidence. So if you're going to believe atheism is correct, you also have to have proof and evidence. So I called them up and I used their own words with them. It was, I'm playing by the rules, that's what they said, and I said, okay, you said that in order to believe something is accurate and correct, you need to have proof and evidence. Where is your proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct? And an honest, sincere question, of which it was like you threw a beehive into a cage of monkeys. They went ballistic. They panicked for 16 minutes. Let me give you an example. And when you click the annotation, you'll hear it. At one point, the host panics and says, well, Rich, prove your favorite ice cream isn't vanilla. Now, I'm like, what? You know, in my mind, I'm like, you know, I don't think like how atheism teaches you to think. I think rationally. I like to look at proof and evidence. After 16 minutes of me begging and asking and trying to get them to provide proof and evidence, at the very end of the call, I say, you know, guys, this is why and I told them I loved them, you know, I was sweet and lovable and nice. I said, guys, this is why I left the madness of atheism that is based on faith with no proof and evidence. And they did not deny it. Hold on, I want to see if this guy's going to crash it. They did not deny it. See, Jesus Christ, I can have faith in Jesus Christ, but what I love about faith in Jesus Christ, it's not a blind faith. There are truckloads. Like, you see this big semi right here? Truckloads and truckloads, about this size right here, of evidence that I could pack into that semi truck that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. So check this out, guys. I'm going to see you January 10th at 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific. Go to shotgunnow.net, click radio. You'll see it right there. In the meantime, you're going to see an annotation. Click that box, that annotation, and you'll hear my call into the live Atheist Radio Show, where I did tell them I loved them, but they failed miserably on live radio to provide proof and evidence. God bless you guys. Maranatha. See you on the 10th.